DuBois with DMV Real Estate. We're so happy and grateful that you've joined us today, taking your time out. We are going to be providing you information on real estate in the DMV area, DC, Maryland, and Virginia. Today, I am so excited to have as a special guest speaker, Julie Yale. Julie lives in Potomac, Maryland, and she's going to share with us her investing past experience and her current experience with real estate investing. First, Julie, talk to us about the homes that you've had in the past and what you've done with the homes that you've had in the past.
I guess really to start at the very beginning, I probably got involved in investing in real estate from growing up on a farm.
Okay.
So, my dad was a farmer. I had 5 brothers. They all farmed, and it was about buying land because land never went away.
Right.
And you couldn't go wrong buying land.
You can't. Yeah.
So, I didn't stay on the farm. I moved away, got married, and we started buying houses.
Okay.
And we would buy a house and then keep it and move to the next house. Buy a house, keep it, move to the next house. And those houses that we kept became rental properties.
Okay.
And in the process of having the rental properties, we learned how to do a lot of, I guess, repair, additions, maintenance, all the things that you have to do with rental properties, which a lot of people think is easy.
Yeah.
Well, it is not.
Right, it's a lot of work. Yeah.
It's a lot of work. I mean, we put additions on, we made significant improvements, things would happen,
Yeah.
In the middle of people living there, and then you had to, accommodate, what their needs were.
Yeah.
And then slowly but surely, the kids grew up. I always incorporated them into the whole process of the rentals.
Mm-hmm.
So when we had turnovers, we would have them come in. I would have them come in with me, and we would work on getting them ready for the next people.
So you put them to work.
Put them to work
Yeah.
even at a really young age.
Yeah.
So one of our first properties, I remember it had layers and layers of wallpaper.
Mm-hmm. Wallpaper, the wallpaper days. I remember
and
that.
people hated wallpaper.
Yeah.
So I would go around with this wallpaper spray remover and just spray the walls.
Yeah.
And then I would have my 3 and 5-year-old walking around stripping the wallpaper off the walls.
Oh my
You know,
goodness,
and
yeah.
they got real involved, and I think they got interested. And as they grew up, they started buying properties. And
Wow.
so now I've got, I think 3 out of the 5 own proproperties.
You kept them. Okay.
Well,
That's
they're buying their own properties at this
Okay.
point, whether they're living in them or they're investment properties. But they've definitely learned about I guess the advantages of owning property.
real estate investing.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right. So you put them to work. So you currently have 3 of those 5 properties
Yes.
that you had.
Well, no, we only had 3. We kept 3.
You had 3 of
Right.
them. Okay.
5
okay.
kids.
Okay. 5.
5 brothers, 5 kids. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The other things that basically right now you're investing with your sons in real estate,
I
which is
am.
actually I think is excellent. Yeah.
Yes.
Talk to
So.
us a little bit about that.
So one of my sons is in the military. He's in the Air Force, and he went through college through ROTC. And when he graduated, and I hope I'm using the right term, I believe they gave him a signing bonus.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's exactly
my
what it
son's
was
in the military
called,
too.
but
Yeah, that's what it
they
is.
gave him some amount of money to go into the military. And he basically, and he might not agree with this either, but he was like, do you think I should buy a car or a house?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I think you should buy a house.
Right. Right. Exactly.
So
yeah.
he did. He bought a house in downtown D.C., in Northwest, and it was in horrible condition. At the time, I think it had been subdivided into 3, basically, I guess, rooming houses.
Oh, okay.
They were they actually had locks on all the doors,
Oh,
and
wow.
so it all had to be.
Was it a single family?
It was a townhouse, a single family townhouse.
Okay.
But they had divvied it up so that each person had a room with a lock on
okay.
it, and
Got
I think
it.
they just shared it.
Yeah.
So anyway, it sat there for about 6 months after he bought it, and I was like, "Are you going to do something with that?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was like, well, he had been, I think he was in Japan at the time. It's kind of hard to do much, renovation.
Yeah.
So anyway, I jumped in and started working on that, and we got that rented. And that property has currently become a condo conversion that we're working on. So the renters
Okay.
were there for a number of years, and then he moved back into it, and he lived there when he was working locally. And about 6 months ago, we started a process of doing a condo conversion on it.
Wow.
So it's been completely like gutted, and another story put on top, and we're in the process of getting ready to have, well, there's numerous inspections that you have.
But when you go through with the DC.
You have to get the permits, you have to go through everything that is involved, and it's complicated. The first house we did in DC, which was finished this past winter, it took us 9 months just to get
the permits and things like that?
Yes.
Wow.
So, but
That's
that was really our first house, and we were learning. There were a lot of things that we didn't know that you had to do. So when you get investing in properties and you're doing it yourself, there's a real steep learning curve.
Yeah.
And so that first house was really, we finally got our permits approved right in the dead of winter. So the plumbers came in, and they're busting up the floor and putting pipes in, and the pipes are freezing.
Oh no! Oh no! Wow.
So then you've got water flowing, and then they've got to they want to get the pipes going, and they need the water to prove that the pipes are tight.
So
but if it freezes,
the inspections during the process.
Well, it just really elongated things. I think it's a great thing to do, and I personally love all this construction, and I've had my contractor's license in DC and Maryland. I got it in DC primarily because I wanted to make sure I was doing things legally the right way, and I always want to do that. And it's a real simple process, but it's
hands-on all the way.
Well, I definitely hands-on. There's no question about it. But there are a lot of things to learn, a lot of things to do. And with this new project that we're working on, I'm nowhere near as involved. We've got subcontractors who are coming in. They know what they're doing. I come in and I look for things that aren't done.
Okay.
But I'm nowhere near as involved as I was with the first project that we did. Oh my gosh.
Is that better for you?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, you like
it takes more money.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to have the funds available, and not only that, you have to have the trust in the people that you're working with, that they're going to do it the right way. And then sometimes you walk in and you go, I think we're going to have to redo that, And I think they would think, maybe she won't notice.
Yeah.
But I've been involved in real estate for probably a good 20 years. Really more than that.
Yeah.
And when you're doing a walkable floor, or not a walkable floor, a walkable roof, and it's supposed to be really smooth, and you see there's big gouges in the plywood.
Oh no!
And they're going to walk on this. So when they put this roof surface down, it's going to dip in.
Yeah.
And so when you see that, you're like, well, that's just not going to work.
No, it's not right.
And so you're like, okay, you guys got to pull that up.
Yeah.
And then you've got to juggle who financially is responsible for that.
That's a good question.
Yeah,
Who is financially responsible for that?
It's a give and take kind of thing.
Yeah.
So depending on your relationship with your subcontractors, your relationship with your suppliers, sometimes you take it personally, meaning you're responsible for
the
it.
Payment.
And then other times you're like, well, you should have known better.
Yeah, exactly.
And
you put
in
the blame
that
back
case,
on them. Yeah.
so it just depends. You have to be fair. You have to be reasonable. So that's our second big project in DC.
Yeah.
And we've got other things going in other places.
Well, it's good that you actually take the time to go out and actually check it and check what's going on through the entire process. Because, a lot of times people just kind of trust their contractors and just like let them go at it, take care of it. Let me know when you're done. Yeah.
Well, I think that a lot of people do that, and it probably works out okay most of the time.
Yeah.
But, you want the house to be the house you would want to live in.
Right.
And so if there are a few little shortcuts taken here or there, in a lot of cases it won't hurt anything. But all those little shortcuts add up.
Yeah.
So
makes sense.
You start having this problem, then that problem, and a lot of times you go, okay, well, I can live with this.
Yeah.
But once it gets to be at a certain level, people are like, oh no, this is, not made well, and we don't want that. We want it to be
You want to
high
make sure
quality.
it's right. Yeah, yeah. I totally agree with you. The other property that so that's the Columbia Heights property in Northwest DC, the condo conversion,
Right.
and then you've got the Airbnb in Baltimore.
So we've got a couple things going in Baltimore. A different son decided he wanted to get involved in real
I
estate.
think that's neat. Your sons are in real estate with you.
Well, and I have a daughter that really wants to get into it too, but she's not in the area right at the moment, and she's coming, and I think she will get more involved when she's back locally. But the other son that's bought property in Baltimore, first I'm a hygienist. I am a hygienist, but I'm also a real estate agent.
You're a lot of things.
I'm a lot of things.
Right.
So basically, when he was looking for property in Baltimore, he sent me up to Baltimore, and we just went around looking, like everybody always does. You know, you go to all the different houses, and then one day I went into a property. And I was like, "Oh, you need to buy this one." I mean,
no. Do you go with the realtor, or you just?
I am the realtor.
You are the realtor, right?
Yes, I am the realtor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So. He'll go with me, or I'll go by myself, or sometimes I'll bring a different child of mine with me, because I'm always trying to teach them things.
That's so good.
So,
real estate is a great investment.
It is. Yeah. It absolutely is.
Yeah.
So anyway, we found this one, and I was like, you should buy this one, and he bought it. And then he realized from an investment standpoint that he probably didn't buy it the way he wanted to buy it.
Yeah, what do you mean?
He paid cash.
He paid cash for it.
He
wow.
paid, well, this is Baltimore.
Yeah, tell us how old his son is. Yeah.
Well, he's 25, but this is Baltimore. It's not DC. So the prices are nowhere.
Not the same. No,
nowhere near the same. Yeah. And now, because he wants to get involved in other investing, he's realizing he shouldn't have sunk that cash into that one property. Okay. Not that Baltimore. He likes Baltimore. Yeah. He just shouldn't have put so much in that one spot. He should have kept part of it out, and I probably should have advised him better, because since then he's bought another property which he's made into an Airbnb, and he's looking to go into a multi-unit building with his brother.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yes.
Yeah, that is really exciting.
Yes, so that's an 11 apartment building unit with 2 retail spots in the bottom. And so I really do think that residential, and not just residential, but commercial real estate is absolutely the way to go. And if you get yourself all lined up and you don't get too crazy, you know, you can always overextend yourself, always have horrendous things happen, and you'll be in trouble, but you have to take it a little bit at a time. Just, you know, buy a little here, a little there, make sure you know what you're doing. Right.
So that one property in Baltimore, I mean, he could go back in there and probably do like a home equity loan and take.
Well, we're in the process of getting it refinanced right now. Okay. So I was up meeting an appraiser on Monday.
Okay.
And then the current renters called me this morning to tell me that the air conditioning broke.
Oh no! Are you managing them? Or
I do everything.
You do everything.
So I'm managing the properties. I'll get the new tenants in. I take care of the lead inspections and the city inspections.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
Yeah, pretty much everything. But I like it. It keeps me.
You enjoy it.
I really do. Yeah. It keeps me going, and I'm always here and there and running around trying to keep all the different properties going. And I think different investors certainly have different ways of doing things.
Oh yeah, I would actually like turn it over and say, okay, you take care of it. I'm not with you. Don't call me if anything breaks down.
Well, I think the kids probably like it because I'm fairly inexpensive.
Yeah, and you're doing it for your kids. Yeah, you're doing it. It's different than doing it for
for somebody else. Right, exactly.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Tell us about the Airbnb.
Airbnb,
Airbnb.
So we just got that up and going recently, and we've had a few people come in and stay, and everything's pretty good, except for the first day wasn't so hot. We had I guess it was 5 people who were enjoying the baseball games.
Okay. Oh, and enjoying it too much?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we kind of had a feeling that maybe something might happen, and my son said, you ought to go up and check the property after they leave. Well, it wasn't good.
No.
You know, and those kind of things happen, you know.
Was it really bad or just?
Well, depends on your definition of bad. It was cleanable.
Yeah.
But after a lot of things were thrown away.
Oh, wow. So they must have had a real party in there.
Oh, I think they did.
Oh,
I
my
think.
goodness.
Well, I know they did.
So was the money worth it?
Well, in
It's
that
just
case,
one
well,
family, though, or
with
one
an
weekend.
Airbnb,
Yeah.
you are able to get a deductible, not a deductible, a deposit.
A deposit
Yes.
from them. That's
so,
right.
and you
yeah.
do that with all of them.
Yeah.
You have they put a certain amount of money into a fund,
Yeah.
and then Airbnb will have you attempt to negotiate with them.
Okay.
And if they won't, cover the cost
Yeah.
of what they've damaged or what they've done, then they will pay the money out of the fund. Otherwise,
okay.
they give it back to the people. They want you to try to work
Make
it out
amends,
between
make
your
amends, yeah.
yes. And we did. We
Mhm.
presented, our concerns,
Yeah.
and we told them what we wanted. Because there were a lot of things that had to be thrown away, things
Yeah,
that you
you
would
had to
not
do it
want to
yourself.
reuse
Yeah.
in the condition that they were in.
Oh, you're kidding.
No.
So, oh my goodness.
So, and that was time consuming because you've got to go out and buy new things.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
you've got to get rid of stuff and you've got to clean stuff. And, so in general, I've been doing Airbnb for probably 3 years and
Okay.
I've never had this situation happen. But it's basically, you have to know the area that you're in and the
Yeah.
clientele that you're working with. And you can expect that those kind of things may happen occasionally.
Oh, okay.
So
Now,
you-
where in Baltimore is?
It's in let me see, what would you call it? Pigtown?
Pigtown.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know Pigtown. Sorry.
Well, because
That's a first
because
for
it
me, yeah.
was Pigtown, I
Yeah.
actually got little knickknacks. So I do the decorating. I do.
So there's actually pigs that you can.
I have little like bookends, little
Uh-huh.
pig
Little
brass
pigs, because it's in
bookends
Pigtown.
and
Pigtown, Baltimore.
yeah,
Ah,
yeah.
yeah.
So they used to run back in the day. There was the train station is the central. It's a train museum now. It's
Okay.
like 2 blocks away. They used to bring the pigs into town, and
Oh.
then like
wow.
on trucks, but they couldn't get them right to the train. So then they would have them drop them off and run them through the streets to the train station.
There's real history
There's
behind
yeah,
calling it
yeah,
Pigtown.
and
That's
yes,
really, wow.
absolutely. And it's a
Yeah.
really up and coming area. There are little like pubs and taverns and restaurants.
We're
and,
gonna have to go check that
yeah,
out.
yeah. It's really a transitioning area.
Is it?
And on top of that, the house that my son owns is probably 120 years old, and
Oh,
it's
wow.
basically the traditional, original design.
Okay. Is it
It's-
historic at that
It-
point?
Well, they
or-
don't
consider
they
it
don't make
historic?
you keep the old windows in that part. Now, if you go to Wrigley's Delight,
Mhm.
which is the next like section over,
Okay.
they are designated historic, and
Okay.
you have to keep the old windows
Okay.
or at least look like they have to be wood windows. They
Okay.
have to be painted certain colors, and that area is historic. And he was looking to buy a house there, and we made a decision not to get it. But
Because of it being historic.
no,
No.
just for other reasons.
Okay.
But this house doesn't have that same designation,
Okay.
and but it's neat because it's tiny.
Yeah.
Like you walk in and there's this little living room,
Okay.
and then there's this little kitchen and a spiral stairway that goes up to the
Oh, wow.
second floor, and then there's a little bedroom and a little bathroom, and then there's another spiral, and
Okay.
then so
Goes
it's
up-
3 stories.
Okay.
But it's the old original floors. It's never been expanded, and it has fireplaces in every room
Okay.
because that's how they used to heat things.
Yeah.
So you come in and there's a fireplace in the living room. There's a fireplace in the kitchen.
Oh, nice.
There's a fireplace in the next bedroom. I mean, they just
Oh,
it's
wow.
the original house,
Okay.
and they're about I don't know 11 feet wide.
Wow. Wow. Did you guys do any renovations in there, or did you?
A few things.
you
I
were-
mean,
you
we
didn't have to do a lot?
updated some
Okay.
things and added a few things, but they were just basically more cosmetic than anything else. There were some leaking issues that were fixed, and
Okay.
we replaced a lot of the treads on the stairs because they were really old and they
Yeah.
were worn down over the years, and that was something we were concerned about being a safety hazard.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
So we had a couple people who went up and down the stairs, and a couple people slipped
Oh no.
You know, and they
Yeah.
were just like, some of them were young people,
Yeah.
and we're like, if they're slipping, who else is going to slip? So
Right.
we pulled
It's
the
dangerous.
treads
Yeah.
and put new ones in, and I think it's much safer now. Put handrails, you know, safety things,
Yeah.
but very little of any, you know, any serious amount of changing at all, because we wanted it to be historic and traditional.
And keep it
We
the way,
sealed the
yeah.
fireplaces up. We've put little stickers on them. Do not
Doesn't
use the
work,
fireplace, you know, and just
Because you don't know if it does or not because it's so old, right?
Well,
because then you would have to actually.
we
redo the
don't
whole
want
thing.
them. We don't want them putting fires in the fireplace.
Yeah.
I mean, no matter what, whether they worked or didn't work.
Well, going from the example of the last 5 people that you had there, who knows what could have happened, right?
Yes,
Oh, my
that's true.
goodness, Yeah.
Yeah.
So how? I mean, how often is it rented out?
It's been rented out every weekend since we've made it available.
Really?
And usually it's 3 to 4 days at a time. And that's been that time frame because we're trying to make sure it's all working.
Yeah.
So we're going to expand the days and maybe have like one day in the middle
Yeah.
for cleaning people to come in, supplies to be replaced, that kind
Yeah.
of thing. But we're going to try to make it available like pretty much all the time.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
we'll see how that works.
Well, now that it's warm out and it's summertime, you're probably going to be able to keep it going like all summer.
That's what the plan is. And
Yeah.
it's walking distance to the stadiums, which
Yeah.
are just, you know, like blocks away.
Oh,
So,
wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other things as far as real estate going on with investments? I know you were talking about some investing that you had going on.
Oh, the
with-
passive thing I was
The
telling you about?
passive, yeah.
So we recently, again, this was with my children, we've been offered an opportunity to get involved again in real estate, but on a passive level.
Yeah.
And I think it's called crowdfunding, or maybe I don't know if that's really the right term, but
Yeah.
it's large projects, really large projects, where very few people would have the funds or necessarily even want to put everything into, you know, this project. So they bring other people in. Everybody shares the
Yeah.
profits as well as the, you know, potential downfalls.
That is such a great idea. Now, is this the 11 unit?
No, this is something in DC.
Okay, this is in DC.
Yeah, the
Okay.
11 unit is something just totally between my sons, and they're
Okay.
doing it, and it's not passive, it's completely active. And there have been people, from what I understand, the previous owner basically never advertised.
Mm-hmm.
He always had it filled with people. He had it was low rent,
Mm-hmm.
and he always had people in it. We're hoping to go in and completely renovate,
Oh, okay.
and then raise the rents. The people across the street have done that, and the rents are like twice, if not 3 times higher than what, you know, this place is getting.
Yeah.
But it's based on the condition of the house
Okay.
or the building.
The building.
So
Okay.
yeah.
So when is that coming up? When, the 11 unit?
We should I hope to settle next month.
Okay.
And
okay.
then
so
there
we
are-
get an opportunity to look at it.
Yes,
Yeah.
we would.
We also have an opportunity to look at the one in Northwest DC. We'll try to get back
Oh
down
yeah,
there.
yeah. Once we get the steps
Conduit
back on the
version.
front.
Yeah, there are no steps right now, so we can't get over there.
Yeah, there's
But,
no steps.
yeah.
It's hard to get in.
Yeah,
Yes.
but we'll get over there,
Yeah.
and then maybe possibly the Airbnb in Baltimore.
Sure, we
yeah.
can do the Airbnb anyting.
Yeah, if you don't
It's-
have anyone in there.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, in the middle of the week right now,
Yeah.
we've got it blocked, so
Yeah.
there aren't people there.
But I'd love to, look at the 11 unit in Baltimore once you get
Well,
that
once
started.
we own it,
Yeah,
and not me, my sons,
right.
but I'm right in the middle of the whole shabam. I mean,
Yeah.
everything that they're doing,
You're in
I'm
it. You're in
I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm the contact person. Well, both of my boys travel a lot,
Yeah,
and so the one person that's always around is me.
is you, right? Because the one is in the Air Force, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Yeah,
mhm,
and the other one
The
does
other one
consulting.
does healthcare IT consulting,
Okay,
and
so he's traveling a lot.
he's out a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's absolutely incredible that she has kids that is investing in real estate, because real estate is such a great investment as opposed to keeping the money in the bank, and letting it sit there. Real estate always goes in waves basically. And right now, I think if you're getting great deals right now, as far as investing and just holding on to it. Yeah, well, maybe not.
I'm making
You're
faces.
making money? Are you making money?
I'm making faces because I think the market's getting much tighter.
Yeah,
I think
it
it's
is.
harder to find great deals, and I think you really have to evaluate whether you're going to hold it for the long term.
Yeah.
So some of the properties, like the one up in Baltimore, our plan is to get it and hold it.
Yeah.
But then the condo conversion we're doing right now, even though my son bought it originally to live in, and he did live in it, when it's done, it'll be flipped.
You're going to flip it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That one absolutely is.
I wasn't sure about that.
Yeah, so it just depends on where it is and what your goals are, and there's a lot of things to evaluate when you're trying to figure out how you want to make money in real estate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the average price over there where you're in Columbia Heights in the Northwest?
Boy, there's really no average price.
It's hard to tell.
Well, if it's been completely renovated, I mean, like with the condos that are being done, it was one unit, it was one house. Because my son's house was bought years ago, you can't really compare that. But the one next door was recently purchased for, I think, like $650,000.
Okay.
And that was before any work was done to it.
Before the conversion.
Right.
And so
Right.
you actually have that amount for both.
Well, I know that's kind of an idea of what the houses might be going for a townhouse that's, say, 100 years old, that's had virtually no work done to it. You know, it's, I mean, it's got running water and whatnot, but it's not, you know, it has not been renovated. It's not been, you know,
any of that.
Yeah.
No, so it's currently a townhouse now, right? So you're converting into a condo.
Two condos,
Two condos. So who comes up with the condo documents for that?
Well, very interesting that you asked that question. So I've just signed a retainer for an attorney who is doing the process, and it's going to take several months to get that done. It's a process where they fill out forms, they send it in, it has to be approved. I mean, there's a whole through the DC, DCRA. I guess it's DCRA that does it. And it has to be recorded, and there may be that there has to be some kind of bank account set up where money's put into it. Different ones, because when you own the condo, you don't own the land, and you don't own the building. You know, like so when it needs a new roof, who pays for the new roof?
Right. You need to put all that in the condo documents.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things to take into consideration, and it takes months.
Yeah.
And the attorney wrote me recently, and he said, if you don't get this into me real soon, you're not going to be able to sell the property when it's done, because the paper, the documents. Right.
Yeah.
So there's a whole lot of things to take into consideration.
So you're going to make up the rules and regs for the condo?
Yeah.
Now you're going to be the manager of the condos?
No. When that's gone, it's gone.
No, it's
There's
over.
some things that I like to be involved in. If we own them and they're like mine or my children's, I'm totally on board with being involved. But once it goes and somebody else owns it, I'm moving on to the next project.
So you're going to have to designate somebody, I guess, to be the condo management.
You know, I really don't know. This is our first condo conversion. I don't know how it goes.
Okay. Well, I thank you so much for being here with us today.
Over already?
Yeah. Well, we can talk more, but I don't think he'll let us. But let's see how much more we have to talk about. Business MLS. We've got, well, we talked a little bit about the passive investment, basically, and we've got that done. But I appreciate you taking the time out. This was great information. Check us out again next Wednesday. We'll be here between 1:30 and 2 o'clock. And we, again, happy and grateful that you were able to join us, and we look forward to seeing you then. Thank you so much. Have a great, happy holiday weekend, Easter weekend, and we will see you soon.
Thank you.
Julie.